What if the most whispered rumor in modern Korean entertainment was never just a rumor at all? What if the story of Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo, two of the most luminous stars of their generation, has been unfolding quietly, slowly, like a hidden script written behind the curtains of fame? This is the question that has lingered for years. A question fans return to every time a single interaction, a single public moment, or even a single sentence escapes into the world. Because these two names, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo, are not merely celebrities. They are symbols. One, the charismatic king of modern K-drama. The other, the ageless queen who defined an era of romance storytelling. For years, they lived in parallel universes. Two stars circling the same sky, never touching, never crossing, never giving the world a moment to dream of them together. And yet fans kept dreaming. This is the full journey of their rumor-filled history. A timeline shaped by admiration, coincidences, unanswered questions, and hints that never quite faded. The first spark, admiration without contact. The whispers did not begin with a project or a photo. They began with admiration. It was during the years when both actors were building their legacies. Lee Min-ho had already risen as a global sensation with his commanding roles, and Song Hye-kyo was a living legend, an actress whose presence alone could change the tide of an entire drama industry. Somewhere in these early years, a quiet truth began circulating in interviews and press rooms. Lee Min-ho admired Song Hye-kyo deeply. Her acting, her grace, her longevity. An admiration that was respectful and almost poetic. And fans noticed something. The way he mentioned her was different. Deliberate. Warm. Sincere. A seed had been planted. Parallel lives, separate careers, shared headlines. Both actors continued to rise, but never together. Their careers were two dominant rivers flowing fiercely, but never merging. They became pillars of Korean drama, their names echoed across continents. Fans often wondered why no producer ever placed them in the same project. The chemistry seemed inevitable, the pairing too perfect to ignore. But silence filled the space between their worlds. Yet even in this silence, curiosity grew. How does one admire a star so close in industry, yet never meet? How do two of Korea's biggest icons never cross paths, even at the largest events? The rumors began soft, barely audible. But they were just beginning. The first real wave, the interview heard around the internet. It happened suddenly. An interview. Simple, unassuming, yet powerful. Lee Min-ho mentioned Song Hye-kyo again, years after his first remarks. But this time, the tone was different. More mature, more thoughtful, more curious. He spoke about wanting to work with actresses who brought depth and emotional intelligence to their roles. And among the names he admired, hers appeared again. Unprovoked, unprompted. To fans, it felt intentional. And the internet responded. Was this admiration becoming something else? Was this a hint? A desire? A signal? The rumor mill awakened. Unseen connections, the private circles that overlapped. Behind the public eye, something interesting was happening. Their social circles began to overlap. Directors who had worked with her were now working with him. Stylists who had shaped his image were doing campaigns connected to her. Brand representatives noticed that both actors were suddenly being considered for similar endorsements. Coincidence? Or an unseen gravity pulling their worlds closer? Fans noticed the tiniest details. Matching event schedules. Trips that aligned in the same months. Photographs taken in the same cities, but never together. This was the era of speculation, where silence was louder than words. The unexpected rise. Post-recovery, post-transformation. Song Hye-kyo returned to the spotlight after major shifts in her personal life. Lee Min-ho returned after his military service, more grounded, more thoughtful, more emotionally present in his interviews. Both had transformed. Both were entering a new era of career and identity. Both seemed to radiate maturity and a deeper understanding of themselves. And just like that, fans began reimagining them. Not as two untouchable icons, but as two people at the perfect moment to meet. The fantasy started taking shape. The social media storm, the indirect hints that shocked fans. Then came the era of subtlety, the era of online footprints. Song HYE KYO posted photos from European trips. Weeks later, Lee Min-ho posted photos from the same cities. Different times, different frames, but the coincidence was striking. Their captions, poetic, thoughtful, contemplative, carried moods that felt strangely aligned. Almost like two diaries written on opposite sides of the world. The whispers grew louder. Was someone sending a message? Were these breadcrumbs? Or was the world simply connecting dots that did not belong together? No one could answer. Not even the experts. The industry rumor, a project that almost happened. Whispers from producers began leaking. A project, a script, a drama that, according to insiders, once had both their names at the top of the wish list. It never materialized. Or perhaps it was never meant to. But the idea that they were once considered for a romantic drama ignited the fandom once again. If the industry saw the potential, why couldn't reality? The modern era, the latest hint that reignited everything. And now, the latest moment, the spark that returned the rumor to global attention. A simple comment, a brief mention, a timing that felt too perfect to be random. Lee Min-ho named her again as an actress he respects and would be honored to work with. Song HYE KYO, in a separate interview, described her interest in working with younger actors who bring a fresh dynamic and strong emotional sincerity. The internet exploded. Was she hinting? Was he signaling? Were these two megastars finally acknowledging the tension that fans had felt for over a decade? Or was it all coincidence, nothing more than a dream woven by millions? The truth remains unspoken, but the hint felt real. The legacy of the rumor. Why this story refuses to die. Rumors fade. Stories dissolve. But not this one.
Why?
Because Lee Min-ho and Song HYE KYO represent something rare. Two actors who defined eras, yet never shared one. Two stars at the height of global recognition, yet never sharing the same frame. Two icons admired by millions, yet silently connected by a decade of speculation. It is the perfect mystery, the perfect untold story, a possibility suspended in the air. And until the day they stand side by side in a drama, or the day one of them confirms, denies, or clarifies the truth, the world will continue to ask the same question. The silent dialogue, what the world still doesn't see. Silence is a language both Lee Min-ho and Song HYE KYO have mastered with extraordinary grace. In an industry where every gesture is amplified, every moment dissected, and every pause interpreted, these two have created a sanctuary of quiet around themselves. A quiet that speaks louder than rumors. A quiet that gives birth to endless interpretations. Fans have always wondered if, somewhere beyond cameras and crowds, there is an invisible dialogue happening between them. A dialogue made not of words, but of timing, of energy, of parallel choices that seem too deliberate to ignore. Is it instinct? Is it admiration? Is it destiny lingering just out of sight? The truth remains sealed, but the possibilities continue to breathe. The phantom encounters, stories that were never verified. Over the years, whispers have surfaced from unexpected corners. A stylist claiming they once attended the same private gathering. A fan insisting she saw them pass each other backstage at an award show. A brief nod exchanged. A journalist hinting that the two were nearly cast in a secret advertising campaign, scrapped at the last minute due to scheduling conflicts. None of these stories were ever proven. None were ever confirmed. But in a rumor-driven universe, unverified stories often burn the brightest. Because they leave room for imagination, room for what-ifs, room for the dream that perhaps, somewhere in the shadows of bright lights, these two icons have crossed paths more than the world believes. The unanswered invitations. There is a question that has echoed through industry circles for years. Why have Lee Min-ho and Song HYE KYO never worked together? It is a question that leads to two possibilities. Either fate never aligned them, or fate is saving them for something bigger. Producers have admitted, in guarded tones, that pairing them is both a dream and a risk. Too much anticipation. Too much expectation. Too much pressure. A collaboration of that scale could redefine the industry or collapse under its own weight. And so, the invitations linger in the air like unsent letters. Waiting. Hovering. Waiting again. The global obsession. How fans became part of the story. This rumor is not simply about two stars. It is about the millions who became narrators, an invisible chorus shaping the tale. Fans across continents began collecting clues, comparing interviews, analyzing photo angles, tracking travels, coincidences, likes, captions, even the tones of their posts. What began as admiration evolved into a shared investigation. A global puzzle solved piece by people who had never met each other, yet felt united by curiosity and belief. In a way, the rumor grew not from evidence, but from desire. The desire to see two legends share a frame, a story, a moment. Something that felt like cosmic justice. Fans built the mythology, and the mythology built its own life. Changing era, a future where anything is possible. Both actors now stand at a point in their careers where reinvention is not only possible but expected. Lee Min-ho is reaching deeper into complex roles, seeking characters that challenge him. Song Hye-kyo is embracing darker, bolder, more emotionally layered narratives. They are evolving, rewriting themselves, taking risks they never took before. And with evolution comes openness. Openness to new partners, new scripts, new chemistry, new destinies. If there was ever a moment when a collaboration felt possible, it is now. Not during their early days of soaring popularity, but in this mature era, where both understand the weight of emotion, timing, and story. The world senses this shift. And once again, the rumor awakens. The legend that continues. So here the story rests, not finished, not concluded, not sealed. A timeline stretching across admiration, coincidence, silence, and eternal possibilities. A connection defined not by declarations, but by the spaces between them. A rumor that refuses to die because it is built on something deeper than truth or fiction. It is built on fascination, on longing, on the idea that two of the greatest stars might, one day, share the same orbit. Until that day comes. Until a script binds them, a camera frames them, or a moment betrays a deeper truth, the world watches and waits. Because the history of Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo is not a rumor. It is a phenomenon, a slow-burning legend written by millions of hearts. And like all great legends, its ending has not yet been written.